Okay. It's 4:15, actually a little after. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would you please rise and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Sam Martin, Martha Eldridge,
Here.
and Rick Morgan's here. Public input, anybody? Sir?
Hi, Greg Lagis. How are you?
Good.
Question, have we thought about and or would consider the creation of a dog park for the greater Ossipee area?
A dog park?
Dog park?
I don't know that it's ever come up to us before, but what are your thoughts?
I think we should seriously consider it. I personally know a contingent of many people who are dog owners here in Ossipee, full-time residents, pay taxes, most are full-time here, some come up on weekends and in the summer. And I don't know the area particularly well, but I possibility of Constitution Park, maybe over by the Lakes Region Humane Society, that old ball field. As a citizen, I'd be more than happy to step up and volunteer and be on any committees with the creation of a dog park, design, implementation, rules, etc. Big dog fan, and I know a lot of people in the area are, so I was just wondering if that would be something that the town would consider.
I know we have several hundred registered dogs, so I don't know overall. I would say off the top of my head, the Y field would probably not work, only because that is actually used by as a ball field. But there should be, it may well be room at Constitution Park to do a, huh?
There's plenty of room. I mean, what I would suggest if there was a dog park was to put it out towards Route 25,
Yeah.
like that gate, and that's far enough away from the fields.
You usually want to have it away from playgrounds and things like
Yeah.
that. But on the same property is okay, as long as it's separated usually.
Yeah.
There actually should be a considerable amount over there, but that would be possible. I don't know how, any questions, any ideas, Sam?
I have never given it a thought, but I will. I mean, I certainly.
Yeah, I've been involved with several throughout New Hampshire from start to finish, so I can help with anything as a volunteer. I'd be happy to, invest my time into it.
You're actually approaching this at kind of maybe a good time.
Good.
Because if you're looking to end up doing something with funding, in order to be able to be on the ballot, and on the warrant in March, the deadline would be around February. It would be a deadline to be able to get any sort of a warrant article on to do that.
Cool.
What I might suggest, and it's certainly nothing at this time of year that we probably have much time to invest in, but go
Draft
for it.
proposal.
Go for it. I mean, I would get some people together. You offered to chair a committee, do it. Come in with a recommendation. We will then ultimately decide, there's two routes that this could go. We could agree and adopt it and put it on the warrant ourselves. And if we didn't feel that we wanted to do that, either because one, we thought it was too much money, for instance, or there were other priorities that took priority over it, then you would always have the option of having it put on the warrant by petition, which typically requires 25 signatures and is a pretty easy process. 25 registered voters. But it's a pretty easy as well. So what I would say is time is of the essence. You've got time, but go for it. Put it together.
If I put this together, who do I submit a package to? How's that
Ultimately, it
work?
would be to us.
Okay.
But if, again, if you can get some folks that would be interested in working with you on it, come up with some idea. I would also suggest that you coordinate with Craig, who's sitting right back here. He's our rec director. And we would certainly be looking to him for the use, of Constitution Park and where and how big and all of those things. So,
Perfect.
okay?
Can I ask a second question?
Please.
Issue? Down by Yankee Smokehouse, Route 16 and 25, where signs are up that show that we're the entrance point to Lakes region, Ossipee Lakes region area, White Mountains. Is there anything we can do to clean up that old ice cream area with all the tractor trailers and burnt out cars? And here's why. If I'm a tourist coming up and that's like a gateway entrance, the first thing I see is that. We're supposed to be Ossipee, kind of premier. Where are we at with that, or what can we do? And I hope nobody's related to the owner.
No, you are not the first person by far to make that observation. That was the reason for the chuckles, not to minimize it. It is an owner who has, the town has had in court over the years, is difficult at best, and unfortunately does not share the same community pride that most everybody else does in the appearance of their property. It's not an easy thing to fix, but we are aware of it.
No legal recourse we can take, polite conversation. I mean, you're starting to get paintballs and graffiti on it. There's the burnt out truck. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I don't disagree. We will have our code enforcement officer look at it again. I do think like a burnt out truck, we can make him move that. But there's much of it that unfortunately, it complies with the zoning, as far as the setbacks and those types of things. We have looked out over the years, and one of the things that I think we always need to be very, very careful of, you can make rules so stringent that you might be able to guard against having that, but in the process you penalize the other 4,200 residents who would never do that to begin with. So there's a balancing act there. Most people, as I said, would never have their properties look the way he chooses to. I can tell you that historically, polite conversation and even impolite conversation has had zero effect. But we're aware of it. Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody else on the public input? Anybody?
I'm sure later on today you'll be talking about, I guess there's some correspondence from Jeb Bradley and others about the intersection. We'll just wait for
For
that.
that now, actually, we did receive a copy of a letter which went to, I think we read this last week anyway, but it's a letter which was signed by Jeb Bradley, Representatives Marsh, Nelson, Comeau, and as well as Joe Kenny. It was a letter to the Commissioner Sheehan and Cass. We are writing to follow up on the letter we sent on October 4th requesting the department reconsider their long-term plan to install a roundabout at the intersection of 28-171 in Ossipee, New Hampshire. At the emergency meeting held in Ossipee on October 4th, the representative from your department stated that he felt reconsideration of this decision would be able to be done quickly. It is still our view that the best way forward is to install a four-way stoplight at this intersection, and we again urge the department to proceed with this plan in the most expedient way possible. We remain willing and able to help in any way that we can. That was the letter sent to them. We have crafted a letter based on our last week's meeting, which I'll read. And ours is to the commissioner as well. And we are writing to thank you for the prompt attention that has been given to the intersection of Route 28-171. The temporary solutions that have been put in place certainly ease our immediate concerns. The consensus of the public in attendance at the emergency meeting held on October 4th was that a four-way stop is the most appropriate remedy for this problem, and we simply look forward to a permanent solution. And that's going to be signed respectfully. In fact, I'll make a motion that we sign that.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I will reiterate, Damon, since you're here, that I was more than genuinely impressed with the response that the state gave this after our emergency meeting. Literally the day after that meeting, the day after, they eliminated the passing zone, which was on Route 28 on the south side of the 28-171 intersection. 2 days after the meeting, even though it was a holiday, they installed and cut in the rumble strips on the approaches to 171. The day after that, they installed the strobes on the stop signs, as well as what are currently temporary radar signs, which give people their speed to hopefully slow people down on Route 28. Literally all of those things happened in 4 days. I can tell you, having dealt with the state for 30-odd years, nothing happens in 4 days. So I was extremely pleased that they took what was said here at that meeting seriously and in fact acted. I have always believed from the get-go, and I think Sam and Martha agree as well, I had always believed that a four-way stop was the ultimately best solution to the problems in that intersection. Having said that, I am also convinced that a roundabout will in fact eliminate the high-speed T-bone accidents, which is what has historically been such a problem in that intersection. Because with a roundabout, everybody from all four directions has to slow down in order to navigate it. So it will eliminate the high-speed accidents. The consensus of the people here at the meeting was certainly the four-way stop, but I'm in a position to be honest with you, I don't care what they do, so long as we stop killing 17-year-old kids. And I believe either plan will do that. But I am very, very thankful, we are very, very thankful for the response of the state to that emergency meeting. It was incredible.
We're just kind of waiting for that response about whether or not they're going to build the roundabout or the four-way stop. We're just very interested to find out what the response will be.
It will. What our representatives and Senator Bradley and Councilor Kenny asked was that the department respond to us within 2 weeks of that meeting. That 2 weeks is coming up quickly. So we do expect to hear from them. Ellen just stepped out. I do think we've got the Commissioner of Transportation is going to be here next Monday.
Yes.
Ellen, am I correct that the Commissioner of Transportation is going to be here next Monday?
Not the Commissioner, Victoria Chase, who is with the Bureau of Highway Design,
Okay.
and some other representatives will be here.
And they're going to be here for next Monday at what time?
4:15, they'll be here right in the beginning.
So they'll be here at the meeting next week. It was, the topic of that meeting was to discuss the Route 16 and Route 41 intersection, and that has been changed. And we will be discussing with them here next Monday, the Route 28 and 171 intersection. So if anybody has an opinion, anybody wants to be heard, this is a great opportunity to talk to the people who are going to be decision makers in that process.
Have you heard from public safety if there have been any other accidents since all those improvements have been put in, or if people get us,
To my knowledge, there have not been.
or if you've noticed anybody people slowing down, if you think it's working?
There's a couple of things that are happening in addition to the signs. The Sheriff's Department, State Police, and Ossipee Police Department have coordinated the schedule, and if anybody has been traveling that road, they will have seen a very much increased police presence. So that, in conjunction with the radar signs, we are confident is in fact slowing down traffic as we speak. The problem with you, if you will, with that, when it comes to the blue lights, is we can't do that for 2 years. I mean, we can give it attention, and we are, and hopefully that with the signs, I think a lot of people that are speeding through that intersection weren't necessarily, I'm trying to be nice here, not necessarily realizing that they were speeding through the intersection, so those signs are going to alert them that they are in fact going too fast. The rumble strips, as Sam said, we've had several people complain they thought they had something wrong with their car. I mean, they're pretty aggressive, and when you hit them, you do know it. Which if it was an inattention issue or somebody looking down texting or whatever, hopefully that's going to again have an impact.
Yeah, the first ones are spaced so far apart that you actually think maybe you hit something before you hit the next one.
Yeah.
So you've got your attention there in the first one.
So hopefully those temporary measures will in fact, keep it under control until a more permanent solution, whether it's going to be the four-way stop or the roundabout can be done. Anything else?
Well, I'm definitely interested in that upcoming meeting. We'll have to know about that, so we can do a story, let people know that's happening next week.
Next Monday, 4:15.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Anybody else under public input? If not, we're going to start into our red folder. We have the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting, which occurred on Monday, October 15th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the minutes of the Seligman's Department Head meeting, which occurred on Monday, October 15th. I make a motion to accept them as printed. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We have the payroll reimbursement request from water and sewer. This is in the amount of $3,387.65. I make a motion to approve it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the check voucher totals. Payroll for week ending 10/20 was $40,070.99. We had accounts payable week ending 10/15 in the amount of $21,641.89 for a total dispersed of $61,712.88. Additionally, we had water and sewer accounts payable, which we track separately, in the amount of $9,442.86. I make a motion we sign it. All in favor?
Aye.
These are the batch totals. There is a multi-tiered review for every bill that the town has. When a bill first comes in, it goes to the department head, who certifies and signs off that they did in fact receive whatever service or product it is. And they code the bill for which line item from within their budget is to be taken. It then goes to finance, compiles it, and sends it to us. Each one of us review every bill independently and initial it before it gets to this stage.
Hold on a second.
Huh?
Just hold on a second before we do it. Should be right back.
So there is a multi-tier review of every single bill. We have a sign permit which was submitted to us by a zoning ordinance. This is for Purity Spring Resort. It's to enlarge a current billboard from 20 by 12 to be 30 by 14. That size of sign would be in violation of our sign ordinance, and I make a motion that we deny it. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. I'm not signing it. You sign it too. We have a bill which has been submitted to the town for the last several years. This board and the previous two boards have denied paying it. It's a bill from Green Mountain Conservation Group for water quality testing, which they do. And they requested that we reimburse them $10,081.06. Breaks out all the days of testing and shows that they bill staff hours at $50 an hour and volunteer time at $24.67 an hour. I've never volunteered and got paid $24.67 an hour, but anyway, I'm going to make a motion that we deny reimbursement of this amount.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The other thing is, included in this is a $2,400 outside funding request, which historically had been paid by our Conservation Commission to the Green Mountain Conservation Group. Whether or not the townspeople ultimately support that, I think should be up to the townspeople, but I do think that Green Mountain ought to be, we ought to send a letter to them explaining to them that outside agencies who want to seek funding from the town, there is a defined process, there is an application, they have to submit financials, they have to show a need. That should come into us, and then the budget committee, and ultimately be voted on by the townspeople. I mean, we make every other outside agency do that, yet this particular outside agency was getting funding funneled to it through our Conservation Commission, which I don't think we should have been doing.
Do you want them to go through the petition process? That's normally when we establish a new outside
For the first
agency.
year, they have to do it by petition, but they also have to submit all of that information in order to be considered. You agree?
I agree.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that Ellen send a letter to Green Mountain Conservation explaining that position on their funding. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the Highway Department work log, which is here, if anybody'd like to look at it. We have a memo from Brad regarding the sander for the pickup truck that is run by the highway foreman. This will allow the highway foreman to apply salt and sand in intersections, hills, and corners while out checking during storms, eliminating the need to radio another truck to come over to that area. It's three quotes for a sander. HP Fairfield was $4,092. Donovan Equipment was $44.25, and Alton Motorsports was $47.50. He recommends that we purchase it from HP Fairfield for $4,092. Any questions on that? I make a motion that we approve that purchase of $4,092 for a sander from HP Fairfield. All in favor? Aye. We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 272, lot 8. It's on Youngs Road. It's a 7-acre parcel. They're cutting 3 acres. John Nielsen is the owner. Ralph Edmonds is the logger. The taxes have been paid. I make a motion we approve it. All in favor? Aye. We have 2 petition and poll licenses. This is public service. This is going on near Blueberry and Laurel Road, Blueberry Estates. I'll make a motion we sign it. All in favor? Aye. We have a second petition and poll license. This is for a pole going down for the O'Reilly's Auto Parts down on Isaac Buzzell Road. Make a motion we approve it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a fairly lengthy letter here that I won't read all of it. It's from our ambulance provider, and it's explaining, it's our third quarter report for one on responses, but it's also explaining several things that they're doing, trying to improve their response times to calls throughout their service area. It's here in the folder if anybody would like to look at it. We have a copy of the consent calendar agenda. Governor's Council, which is here if anybody'd like to look at it. We received a thank you letter from June Carey and Caitlin Wright for flowers that we sent for her husband's funeral. Husband and dad's funeral. We have the water and sewer warrant, instructing the tax collector to collect $1,867. I make a motion we sign it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a memo from Brad Harriman. This is regarding the installation of remote monitoring equipment on our water system to hopefully allow our water workers to have a life and stop having to go in on Saturdays and Sundays. There are 2 different upgrades to our current system, which would allow for remote monitoring. They'll allow to monitor the pH levels, chlorine flow, and water flow remotely. Mission cellular system can be set to call out personnel only if a failure occurs at any of the stations. We can also add a well and tank control package, which will report to the above unit to control well pump start and stop. Those total $15,202.10. We can also install a monitoring system at the Beach River Sewer Pump Station to remotely monitor the flows and levels. This system will eliminate the dialer and phone line expenses and turns the alarms over to the mission unit, which goes back to the other one. That's for $59.8760. The equipment that is currently in the pump stations was supplied by AD Instrument Repair Incorporated. The equipment quoted here is compatible with what we currently have. Bo has reached out to other companies and they've stated they need to change our entire system over to be compatible with their equipment. AD Instrument Repair comes highly recommended by New Hampshire DES and Scotland Grant State Rural Water. The cost for these upgrades would be paid out of the respective water and sewer operating budgets. Fred, are you looking to do this now? Do we have the money to do? Do we have the money with the zoning budget to do it, or is it something that we could add into those 2019?
I think we were looking at 2019, weren't we?
We're looking at 19, at the first part of 19, yeah.
But if we get these into the 2019, then there's no reason you couldn't order them in December, have them installed in January, and be off to the races. Any thoughts?
No, I think it's a great idea. Go ahead. I
Yeah.
agree.
So you can have this back. Do you have another copy of this?
We do.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion that the Water and Sewer Department include those modules into their 2019 operating budget.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Old business, anything new on Duncan Lake?
No, not on that yet.
Economic revitalization zone for West Boston.
And that's the wait for follow-up.
Okay.
We put the application in back towards the end of August, and I haven't heard anything back, so I called and left a message last week.
Okay. 28-171 we've discussed. Anybody have anything they want to add to that discussion? Sidewalks, did we get the maintenance agreement back yet?
Not yet, no. But we'll be pushing for that to get that all done right up short here and stuff, so we can,
Can you get us an update the next week?
Yes.
I'd like to get that signed off on so we can get those bids out. To be able to look again to that end of March, 1st of April construction.
yep.
And anything new on the covered bridge?
No, nothing new there. Like I said, last week, I got a meeting on Thursday down at DOT with those same department heads that are handling that, so that's gonna be one of the topics of conversation.
And we have fuel bids. First bid is this is from Carroll County Oil. Pleased to offer a bid proposal for 2018-2019 heating season. Able to supply the town with number 2 heating oil and on and off-road diesel. Number 2 heating oil offer will be extended to the town employees. Carroll County Oil would offer the town a fixed price of $2.62.9 per gallon for number 2. If the town wished not to enter a fixed price, we would offer number 2 heating at cost plus 18 cents. We'd also be able to supply the on and off diesel fuels at cost plus 18 cents as well. Next bid is from, and I just cut it in half, CN Brown. They've got ultra-low heating oil at 260.9. Ultra-low sulfur diesel fixed price at 274.9. Gasoline would be rack plus 22 cents.
Is that extended employees?
It doesn't say that. Next is from Rhymes. This is just the same thing.
One propane and one oil.
Hmm?
It's one propane and one oil.
No, it looks like it's, yeah, I guess it is. All right, so the first one is offering a price of $2.77.9 per gallon for heating oil. And $1.67.9 for propane. There's a lot of verbiage in some of these bids that will have to be looked at. But give you a thumbnail of them.
East Street.
Jesse Lyman. Number 2, heating oil at $2.74 per gallon. Diesel summer blend at $2.69. Diesel winter blend at $2.99. Regular unleaded gasoline $2.43. And propane at $1.69. That's the fixed price program. They also do a rack price program. So the number 2 heating oil would be, there's no price protection, but would be currently $2.69, diesel $2.69, regular no lead $2.24, and the propane $1.68. This is from Suburban Propane. Pleased to offer the following bid, fixed price of $1.65 per gallon, or they do a rack plus 45 cents per gallon over the Selkirk, New York rack price. Brad, I'm gonna suggest that you compile all of these as you normally do. Read through the fine print, come back to us with a spreadsheet that shows all of the bids. Yeah, you might know a little something about those.
Just a little. Oops.
New business, we've got budgets. Town clerk tax collector, Madam.
Okay, you want me to just go line by line?
Mainly, I think, well, most of us are probably only concerned with just where the increases are.
Okay, so, the payroll increase is the 2%.
Yep.
The part-time wages, Trish is not quite sure what year she's retiring. So I want to start getting somebody in here because it takes 30 days for them to physically work here before the state will allow them to go down and get trained to do autos. So I have to have money for somebody in here part-time, and that's why the increase of 2,000. The overtime went down only because we're having one election. That money would be for Trish. The increase in health insurance would be if Trish left mid-year, I would need money, because she doesn't have health insurance right now.
Yep.
So I need to fill that gap, whether, because I don't know if the new person would be a single, two, a family.
Does she plan on retiring this coming year?
She's not sure yet.
Okay.
It could be, it depends on the health too, it depends
Okay.
on a lot of things, so I don't have to put that extra money in health insurance, but I'd hate to see my budget not be enough, should she decide this
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
But if, the other increase was retirement, Equipment and maintenance went down 3,000. I'm keeping the same phone only because I wasn't sure what the increase would be with the new system and how that's going to be handled. Supplies is the same. Postage went down, and the seminars in school, I do know that one of the seminars that I'm going to will be going up. That's why that increases.
Questions? This one? No? No questions?
I did notice you had 2,500 in part-time wages. You didn't use any of it this year.
We didn't. We actually managed to use their days off, and we managed to get through it. And that's what I will try again. But knowing that I need to get somebody in here, whether it's at the end of this year, not this year, or towards the end of next year, if she decides to retire in 2020, I'm not sure yet.
Does that person have to be an Ossipee resident?
Yes and no. If I hire a person just to be an assistant, no. But I will need a deputy if Trish retires, so that person would have to be an Ossipee resident, yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll get the totals. The 2018 adopted budget was $325,050. The 2019 request is $333,825, difference of $87.75, or 2.7%. I make a motion that we recommend this amount to the Budget Committee.
Second.
All this, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. You're all set for your date with the Budget Committee?
I am.
Okay. Yeah, you ain't going anywhere. Elections. Last year, the elections budget was $8,450. This year, it's $3,875. Obviously, there's fewer elections.
There's only one election, that's why everything's down.
So it went down $4,575. I make a motion, we recommend that figure.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
My budget is $3,875.
It is, I'm sorry, but it
Okay.
went down by $4,575. We're recommending $3,875.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Are you doing registration?
No?
Oh, that's right, we haven't been registered. So we have the budget workshop for the supervisors, the checklist. Last year's budget was $8,489. This year it's proposed to be $2,575. Again, obviously the same explanation. Any thoughts? How'd you like your first year?
Good.
Good.
I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make a motion that we put forward the amount of $2,575. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. You all set for when you have to be at the Budget Committee?
Yes.
Okay. Rec Department. The adopted budget in 2018 was $163,771. The proposed 2019 is $165,250.86. The difference is $1,289, or 0.79%.
Are we gonna keep that in there? Because we don't get them. Not usually.
Well, this year, I've been told that there is someone who is interested in applying for the position. The 2,800, so that's at 25 hours over a course of 8 weeks, and I think it's just judging by the traffic down there. There's not a lot of people there on a weekday, so it's really more of a swim instructor position. It's a life skill. I mean, I would like to see it stay in the budget, and that's at the $14 an hour. Over the course of 8 weeks. Basically during the same length of time that has summer camp.
I don't necessarily care whether or not we end up with a lifeguard down there, but I would very, very much like to be able to get back to doing swim lessons.
Yeah.
There haven't been swim lessons offered in Ossipee in a long time.
Yeah, that's a very good skill, so.
And you consider the 7/10 of the world's surface is water. We really ought to be making sure that kids learn how to swim.
Recognition and awards. You only spent $79?
Until today. I just ordered all the plaques for sponsors and all that. Get the total amount, and it's gonna be more because basically after the soccer tournament next week, the youth sports have been doing so well. I have to update the banners at the schools and stuff like that.
You're gonna work with Brad on, once he has this, the water solution over there on possibly the warrant article, do something to do with constitution.
Yep, and good news there is on Tuesday, the 30th, Forest Pump and Well is gonna be at Constitution Park, you know, and they'll give us a quote with roughly how much that will cost.
Can I make a recommendation to the board that there be maybe a line item added for a capital reserve fund for the parks and rec? If we're gonna make these kinds of investments in the future, as we've talked about with Constitution Park and various infrastructure changes, can we start maybe this year, but at least starting to separate out a line item for doing
That's kind of what we're doing, maybe not exactly a capital reserve, but what we instructed Greg to do was to not to put it in his operating budget, but to separate it out into separate warrant article.
Great.
So that's what we're headed. Do we still have a capital reserve account for recreation?
We never had one. It was always just a separate line
Yeah, it's
item
just a
warrant
separate
article
one, yeah,
for.
It's just always a warrant article.
I thought we had a capital reserve account at one point.
Yeah, we
Okay.
talked about establishing one a few years ago, but it got turned down.
Okay. It's also an idea, though, to start to, instead of doing the seesaw, to start to put away a certain amount of money every year, and with certain goals in place, might be worth considering as well.
that would be my recommendation to the board.
Anything else you want to add? I mean, your budget is pretty,
Yeah, the only thing I upped was the activities line, and the revenue for the rec department's gonna be up anywhere from like 6,000 to 8,000 this year, so I've only upped that 1,000.
I make a motion, we put forward to the budget committee the requested amount of $165,250.86.
Second.
Actually, I'm gonna change that to $165,250. You can live without the 86 cents. Makes it a little cleaner.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Yeah, we don't do cents.
Huh? We don't do cents.
We don't do cents.
Economic Development, Ash, I know you sent us an email, but now you're here, so.
Yeah, I didn't think I would make it, thank you. I think we're just looking for a level funding this year of 2,500.
Okay.
We had a great year this year. We made a lot of headway with our resources. I'm also here to find out about the ER zone that we're talking about with West Ossipee again. But I think next year, a lot of what we'll be doing is a lot of reaching out, advertising various things to start drawing business into the area now that we have some incentives.
Have you thought about renting a billboard, one of the billboards in town with an economic message?
That was mentioned. I mean, Rochester just did it.
Yep,
in
I
our
saw it.
town. And that, I think, a couple months ago, I think that was mentioned here at the Selectmen's meeting about doing something like that. I think it's a great idea. Any sort of message that says business is welcome here is always a good one.
I think, it seems to me that it ought to possibly come under this because transparency goes. And what I might suggest and ask you is to maybe do a little research on what it would cost to do one of those billboards.
Yeah.
I personally think it would be great. I saw the one in Rochester. It's, you know, kind of nice. I mean,
It's
it
nice
says
to be
here we
welcome.
are, come join us. you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that something, I mean, this is for the budget year, if I wanted to increase this, I mean, I'm kind of back against the wall here. We can increase it the night of the town
You're
meeting.
not, because a couple of things. Yes, we're gonna go forward and recommend it to $2,500 to the budget committee. At any point prior to the end of the public hearing on the budget, which doesn't occur until January,
The public hearing is in February.
the public hearing on the budget, February as well?
Oh, okay.
So we got plenty of time where that can be altered.
Okay,
So,
that would be great.
okay,
As of now, it's just 2,500.
okay. I make a motion, we put forward to the budget committee the $2,500 requested, same as last year.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Government buildings. The 2018 adopted budget was $225,475. The Department 2019 request is $228,278 for a difference of $2,803 or 1.24%.
Yeah, we have the 2% increase in the salaries there. The sheet you have, mine is missing apparently, is the short-term disability. I don't have a figure in on that one, so I think that's why your number's a little bit higher than mine here. Let's see, obviously the, life of FICA, Medicare, retirement, all revolve around the wages there. And the only other item that I saw that I thought justified a little bit of an increase was the town hall fuel of $500, because we had spent through going into the fall here.
You got 51, 52. As of October 15.
Yeah, 51, 52, and we've still got 3 months so of heating this building here and stuff, so I felt we're gonna be very close on that, not knowing what our numbers are coming in on for the fuel bids also.
I don't even remember what we're currently paying for propane and fuel, or if these prices are gonna be much of an increase over what we currently
Actually, I
have.
think we had everything in a Rack Plus system for this past year, with the ability to lock in if we saw things starting to spike.
Well, that was the difference, and that's why I wanted to make sure that you read through the fine print on this, because the Jesse Lyman bid, on the company, they allow us to do that.
Right.
So they allow us to take advantage of the lower prices doing the Rack Plus, but at any given point, we could lock into a fixed price.
That's right.
So, I mean,
It's something we need to look at.
it's something you need to look at as to whether or not that's possible with all of the bids, which I would be quite frankly amazed if it was. I was actually surprised that they offered that to us, so. Any questions?
No.
I'm gonna make a motion then that we put forward the requested $228,278. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Highway budget. The 2018 adopted was $1,300,282. The requested 2019 is $1,345,500, a difference of $45,218 or 3.48%. Go for it, Brad.
Okay, again, the full-time wages are figured in at the 2%. The overtime, I did put an increase in there because we're still, a good 2 months of winter in front of us. Our overtime budget, we're at, almost $61,000 now. Actually, might even be a little higher than that, because we've used, on occasion, use some up during the summertime here. This my latest sheet here shows.
I'm sure you've done 62.3 as of 10/15.
Okay, yeah, you have more updated one than I do, so. I felt that's cut it very close if we get 3 or 4 storms here in November, December, which we're more than likely to have. Health insurance, obviously, with the new rates there that were given to us. And we pretty much level funded everything down through the telephone. Looked like, well, we're already over a few $100 on the telephone, so we bumped that from $2,000 to $2,500. You saw we were able to decrease the striping safety signs because if you recall at the town floor, at the meeting floor at the town meeting last March, when they want to do the fog lines, I kind of came up with a number off the top of my head for adding the fog lines in, and they came in quite a bit cheaper than that. So, so this number here still lets us do the fog lines again, but we're still coming in $4,000 less than what we anticipated.
So are you looking at doing those fog lines every year?
Yes.
Okay.
They do get beat up pretty good with the snow plowing really scrapes a lot of that off.
Yeah.
And unfortunately this year, we got bumped off. They were supposed to do them right after the 4th of July, but we got bumped off 4 times due to weather and equipment failures on their part with the company that was doing it. So they also went down late this year. It was, I can't remember when it went in maybe September sometime before they went down. So they would have gotten more normal traffic wear on them too and stuff, but they will be pretty much deteriorated you know, to the point they need to be redone every year. Company is called Industrial Traffic Lines. They're the ones that have the low bid on it.
So you think we'll need all that money again?
Yes.
The other question I have, though, I mean, what assurances do you have that they're gonna start doing them before September?
Well, I can put pressure on them if we don't get them, I'll have an alternate to go to another company.
The reason I'm saying that is if what you just said is accurate, which I do believe it is, that the snowplows are gonna scrape half of it off, we're gonna spend $20,000 to line the roads, and it's only gonna last October and November before it's scraped off in December.
Well, you see them, they won't be all scraped off in the first few
But
storms.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
we're spending a fairly good amount of money, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little skeptical about adding the fog lines, but it is very, very effective as far as driving.
Very much, yeah.
You get on these side roads with no,
And dark rain.
you know, with no lights and dark rain, and it does help. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I mean, I personally would like to see that bumped up to where we're getting our
Getting done.
lines
Spring
painted,
season, yeah.
you know, May.
April, when the fall starts,
You know, yeah.
starts to get warm.
Did any other questions on there, Sam?
The other increase, you can see on the bridge maintenance, we spent just under $5,000 this year on it, and so we felt that to keep up, especially with the newer bridges we all have in there, the maintenance is important to keeping those, the sealers on them and that kind of stuff, keep the brush cut around them and just keep them in good shape that way. We felt that warranted going up to the $2,000 increase on that, from 3 to 5.
Is that for equipment or
Pardon?
what is that for?
It's for the materials. I know the siloxane is the chemical that we use on the bridges for sealer. That's that's almost $2,000 just to buy a 55-gallon drum of that. And then, you know, we do repairs to them if there's like a broken guardrail happens on it. We have one up on Newman Drew Road that guardrail got taken off. It's actually, well, box culvert. It's not really a bridge yet, but it's, you know, come under that same category. Do we have to, you know, replace that one? So things like that come out of that line item.
Do you have plans for a new truck or equipment or anything on warrant article?
Yes.
What do you?
We're replacing we'd like to replace one of the Ford 1-tons and also Neil's truck, the International, which is a 2008, so that's 10 going on 11 years now. It's getting to the point it's starting to cost us on the repairs. It's at that age where it's starting to do that to us, so.
Salt's up too, right?
Yeah, well, actually, the per ton price went down $2 a ton this year, but the amount we used was, you know, we just used a lot of it. Last year, we had the winter that didn't want to end in March and April, so, you know, we overspent by over $6,000. You know, so far this year, we're not through 2018 yet. We do have some in the shed out here, but 2 storms here, and I think that's going to be pretty well dwindled down. The culvert, we haven't used anything on. I have a price right now. We have a culvert down in Granite. It's a 4-foot diameter culvert that needs to be relined. Reason we're looking at doing that is because it's so deep. It's all to get to the bottom of it. We're going to be down 12 to 15 feet deep on Granite Road, right before the bridge, the big bridge there, just after White Pond Road. The initial price I have right now, I'm waiting for 2 more to come in. The initial price was $26,000 to do that. It's an expensive process where they slide a pipe inside this one, and they have a pump system that fills the cavity between the 2 with grout, and it comes back out and seals the bottom up. What's happened is the whole bottom of that existing culvert is rotted right out. It's basically gone in there. It's an old metal pipe. So I'm waiting for 2 more. The quotes come in on that, and so that price, if I get those quotes in, I would like to put together a purchase order so we'd be able to encumber that money in the next year. If we're probably not going to get to do it this fall yet, and then to combine that with what we'd have next year for the money there would cover the cost of that.
Why wouldn't you do that under the bridge capital reserve account?
We could.
I mean, I'm just
It's not really-
thinking, rather than going through that over a 2-year period of time, I believe we have the money in the account currently
Yeah,
to
there'd
do that.
be enough in that one, yeah.
And we plan on adding to it again,
Yeah, yeah.
and which is for that purpose, which is to repair bridges, so.
Yeah, you know, this isn't really, this one isn't really, a bridge by the state standards there and stuff. We could justify it anyway, I think, so.
There's a hole in the road that water runs up.
That's true. It gets you across it, that's right.
Probably fit.
Yeah, yeah. So, no, I could look at that type of funding for it, yeah. What's that? No, because the problem to dig that up and do it, you have to shut the road down for a few days there, and that's a busy road, and it's not an easy one to actually close down, so I'd rather do this lining inside of it.
So do you need the full 15,000 if you're gonna take it out of the other?
Well, also, I've been holding off purchasing any culvert pipe that we keep on stock out back for this project. So, obviously, we don't use it this year, that would go back in the general fund, and wouldn't cover that, but I do need to resupply some of the pipe we've been using. Our supply is getting low in certain sizes. We have some of the bigger sizes, but I don't have.
And I'm all with that, but you've got $15,000 in your budget currently, you've only spent $800. Why not get a culvert order in,
Yep.
get it purchased, then you wouldn't need the full $15,000 for culverts coming up if you do that one that I'm suggesting you do out of the capital reserve account.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do it that way.
In a normal year, what would you use for culverts? I mean,
I've spent the 15 before, but if we do put an order in this year to restock there, we could probably get by with about, maybe half of that, maybe 7,500, 7,000, something like that.
I don't want to hamper you, but I mean, we do want to cover what we can, if we can, without compromising what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't see where it would compromise it.
Not if we take it out of the capital
Right,
reserve account.
exactly.
Reduce that by 7,500?
We do
Zero.
set over 7,500?
We could live with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And everything else below there is level funded, yeah.
Contract plowing, we had a lot of plowing last year, and you only used 1,950, it's up, you've got 3,000. What was it the year before, do you remember?
I thought we were closer than that. That's 31.
Yeah.
2 or 3 months, yeah. Yeah,
Hopefully not October, November, December plowing.
yeah.
What about tires? The $10,000 budget item, and you used 27.
Yeah, we have actually a large order just went in today. We do have a purchase order out on those too, don't we? I believe, so there should be some, that should be showing up in the,
You know how much it is?
yeah, we have let's have a balance on the purchase order of $2,500. And I don't know what the amount is in the order we put out for 12 tires today to come for the trucks there, so that's gonna be all of that anyway. There's probably gonna be good $3,000, between $3,000 and $4,000 there. That'll be just to get us, we're just getting set up for winter right now on the truck, so that's where we get into our winter tires and see what our stock is.
So we're always a little bit behind, I mean, we still got 3 months of this year to get through.
2 months.
So I'll be using that part of that all up.
So you expect it to go to 10,000?
I'll be real close to it, yeah. Yeah.
Sign replacement is another one.
Roadside replacement, we actually have an order going in on that too, so we have Billy and the crew have been putting together a list of the signs. We've been slowly getting our signs up to the new standards that they require. For the street name signs, they require the 9-inch tall signs with 6-inch lettering. We've been taking a section of town each year and doing that, and we have another section I think what we've done this year, we'll have everything done that's off of our state highways. Then we can start working on the what I call the neighborhoods, like, you know, Center Ossipee, West Ossipee, you know, the side roads that are off of, you know.
How much did you order it for?
I didn't get a price on it, but I try and bring it right up to about the $4,000 mark, so that I about spend that every year.
And contract equipment?
Contractor.
You spent $400, you got a $10,000 line item?
Yep, I haven't used much of that this year. We held back on, after the winter we had there, I didn't hire any subs out on projects and stuff this year, so. Actually, a couple, I don't know how I coded that last bill, it just came in as as contract services. I put that under some clearing, it was just on some tree cutting.
How much was that?
That's for $1,000 there. Just put it in. Yeah.
So that's $1,400 for 10. What can you live with in that line item?
Well, I know we dropped, about 3 years ago, we dropped that from 25,000 down to 10,000 to give us the ability to, if we needed to go get a subcontractor to do some work with us, if we had a larger project. I'd like to keep.
Weren't you renting the excavator and stuff out of that when you were doing it?
Contract equipment. Yeah, actually, yeah, that bill hasn't come in. I think it just came in. No, I haven't even seen that one yet, I don't think. At $2,850 for that, so. But yeah, that's where that would go in, or if I rent a roller, a vibratory roller for the grading and stuff too, I'd go into that, which we didn't rent one this year.
You didn't rent any equipment this year?
I did, yes. The bill hasn't come in yet on it, so.
Well, that's not in that desk, please.
Yep.
I want to see what that line item is.
We can always go back and revisit it. The other thing I want to make sure is, looking at the fuel budgets, it looks like we were in pretty good shape, but I also want to make sure once we plug in the numbers for the new fuel amounts, that those are going to be sufficient to cover as well. They look like they are. But you must have, we have the amount of gallons that we've purchased in the course of the year, and you do that with with whatever the new amounts are. We want to make sure that those are covered as well.
Right, yep. Yeah, we're working Karen on those kind of numbers and stuff, so.
So what does that come out to without the 7,500?
$1,338,000. Which means it's $38,000 more than last year. Out of 1.3 million. You have any questions, Mark?
No.
I'm gonna make a motion that at this juncture we put forward to the budget committee a number of $1,338,000. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And we have the transfer station. 2018 adopted was $449,700. The requested 2019 is $502,962. A difference of $53,262, or 11.84%. And we all know that the single largest number is in the hauling and dumping.
Right.
Last year, we raised $180,000 for hauling and dumping, and this year it's proposed at $220,000. Can you explain that, Brad?
Yes, I can. I contacted Conway Incinerator, who does our hauling of our all of our demo and household trash. And as of October 9th, we had already hauled household trash of 911 ton and 821 ton of demo. Those are basically the numbers that we anticipate for a full year. This year, for whatever reasons, we have had a very busy year with people bringing stuff in, whether it's for a combination of things. The economy is much better this year, so we've got more contractors bringing stuff in, and it's just been very busy over there with our tonnages. So projecting out with our time still to do here, and also these numbers don't include the last free dump day that we had in October, which we had like 8 containers go out, Bruce? Which is those typically cost us about $15,000 each one of those events that we have there for those open days. So projecting out household trash to being about 1,100 ton for this year, and the demo being about 1,000 ton, figuring about another 200 ton of trash coming in and another 150 ton or so of demo, would put me at the rates that we're paying of $88,000 for trash, $97,000 for demo, and our container rental for a year of $35,500 totals up to $220,500 for a total cost for that amount of trash. Though whether we get that same amount next year, you know, I don't know. You know,
That's all in it, but
Yeah.
process is that we keep guessing.
And then, you know, so I took, you know, we did take a good hard look at the numbers, and I wanted to get where we were to date and stuff, and what we anticipated getting for the balance of the year, to answer these questions that, you know, that we're looking at, so. Because not only we're gonna be asked here, we're gonna be asked on the floor in March too and stuff, so.
How come the amount that we're doing on the test flow monitoring is going up?
Because they added, if you remember last year, we talked a lot about they added the requirement test for the PFAs in there. DS added that on, so I just got, in fact, I only got that number about 3 days, I think Monday morning I got it, no. When I get these to, Friday morning I got that number, because I'd already submitted this to Karen on Thursday.
But at what point are they gonna, I mean, that's been closed now more than 20 years.
Yeah.
At what point are we going to not have to monitor the groundwater?
I don't think we'll see one. I really don't. I think DS is gonna keep all the towns that have these landfills to monitor, you know, for as long as the landfills are there. I really do. Groundwater permits are typically good for, I think, a 5-year renewal each term there. And I think when I first started here, I could anticipate all that permit will be expired, so we're gonna be free and clear, but no, they make you,
There's nothing ever been shown in 50 years that's gonna make you still keep testing.
I think.
Maybe that's something we ought to sick our legislators on,
I was gonna say, it's the only way to change it.
you know? I mean, there comes a point where it just becomes ridiculous, and then if the state mandates it, but of course the state doesn't pay for it, which is also a violation, I think, in many ways.
I believe that added testing happened last session,
It did, yeah.
which is a mandate to the towns,
Yeah.
which shouldn't have happened.
Well, can if they want to pay for it.
But it should be changed, so if you go so many years, as you go out, they should reduce the amount of testing.
When there's nothing there. I mean, it'd be one thing if we'd ever tested, you know, anything of concern that ever come up on tests, I'd be the first one to support continued testing, but,
How much does the testing cost, and who makes the money?
oh yeah. Well, just for us, it's $6,000,
And who makes the money?
private company.
The engineering firm.
So, I mean, times that, times 200 and how many towns? 200?
36 towns.
Okay.
Brad, can I have a breakdown of the hauling and dumping, that breakdown that you just gave me? Can you just put a copy in my box,
Sure.
please? Thank you.
Do you guys have any idea on a revenue estimate at this time?
We could probably come up with one fairly easy, you know, because Bonnie keeps real good records over there. We can see where we're at this year and stuff, and get that information to you guys next week here, and see where we're at.
We'd like to see it.
Yep. Yep, no, that's a good idea, yep, get that updated.
Other questions? Nothing? Any other questions?
That's it for me.
It's a big jump.
It's a big jump, but it's a $40,000 jump in just adding what it costs us to get rid of the stuff. I don't know that there's anything we can do about it. When does that go back out to bid?
We've just gone to bid this summer.
I'm gonna say, we just
Did a
did
3-year
those.
contract, yeah.
So,
It was quite a bit cheaper, you know, the price we took was quite a bit cheaper between the second one, it
Yeah.
was substantial.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I don't think we got much choice. I'm gonna recommend that we put forward a budget to the budget committee for the incinerator at $502,962.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second public input, anybody?
In that letter, did they, or in your communication with the DOT, did they say exactly what their goals are for the next meeting on Monday?
They did not, other than originally she was scheduled to be here to meet with us about the the Route 41 and 16 intersection. And because of the emergency meeting, because of what had happened, that they had changed it to be able to speak about the 28-171, so. I would expect given what was asked for at that meeting by our elected representatives, which that they come back to us within 2 weeks with their thoughts about lights versus a traffic signal, I would expect that that would be a big part of what they're here to talk about.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
You got a light there. You got a flashing light there.
The flashing light there.
A strobe on the signs.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the yellow flashing light?
Yeah. 16, a flashing light at that intersection.
That's not what we were asking. We were asking for a
Four-way
red, green,
trip.
red, green, and yellow. Actual stoplights.
Just a question about the letter from August regarding the ERZ zone in West Ossipee.
We discussed it really that is briefly, only in the sense that we did the application, and she reached out to them, and we're waiting to get back.
Great.
Well, the application is in, the establishment, and we're just waiting to get back to the state, so I'm gonna shake that for you, we'll see what changes.
Thank you.
Anything else under public input?
I just wanted to sign that letter, the one that you're gonna send.
Sure.
And I also wanted to tell you that when you say something about DOT, I take that clip and I sent it to the DOT Facebook page. They didn't catch that it got uploaded, took it down, but then they messaged me and said, thanks for sharing. So what you're saying is going into their inbox.
That's good. They've heard from me before, and they'll hear from me again.
Oh, they know you.
They know me. I can't say on camera what they called me down at, the Commissioner of Transportation called me several years ago, but anyway.
We have to, Indian personnel and tax.
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, we got Budget Committee meeting on Wednesday, this Wednesday, 6:30 at the Freight House. Anybody wants to go? And we do, if nobody else has anything under public input, we have a need to go into non-public under RSA 91A32
C, for tax matter.
C for a tax matter and A for a personnel matter. I'll poll the board. Sam Martin? Yes. Martha Eldridge? Rick Morgan, yes. Neither of these should take very long, and we will be back to finish and close out the meeting.
Somebody said, why am I going to refrigerate crushed produce? It's going to be processed.
Okay, gonna reopen the public meeting. We did just meet under RSA 91A3 to C and A. C being with a tax collector and was working with her on individuals who are delinquent on their taxes and payment arrangements. And A was a personnel matter, and I'm gonna make a motion that we seal those minutes. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything else?
Make sure you pick up a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
But don't do the winning one.
Don't do the what?
Don't get the winning one.
Don't?
Because I need the winning one.
Listen, I'll split it with you. I don't need it all.
I'm actually, I'm hoping that the odds go crazy and 100 people win it together.
Doesn't matter.
because
Is it still 1.6 billion or is it more than that now?
No, it was 1.6, I don't know
Yeah,
what it
then
is.
it's over 2 billion between the two, between Powerball and Mega Millions, so you want one of each.
Well, yeah, I said,
Oh, it takes
listen,
one to win.
but I said yesterday, somebody says, you ain't gonna win that. I said, you know something? You're probably right. I probably am not gonna win. But I know something sure as hell. If I don't buy a ticket, I sure as hell ain't gonna win.
Right, exactly.
You gotta buy one. So,
We could make a huge dog park.
yes, sir.
I know this.
I know it has not been proposed even, so I can't make a motion to have it done, but they need to have maintenance records available for any town vehicle at any time. Who needs them? I need them. If I'm going to buy a vehicle from you, I realize, well, as is, okay? However, the keys were not available when I looked at the vehicle, so I couldn't get inside. And because the batteries were dead in there, I couldn't open the trunk from the inside. Now, I got a nice car jack in there, right? There's no spare tire. And I was checking with the Department of Transportation on that, or motor vehicles actually, and I said, well, if it came with it, isn't it still required to have it? Just like your lights, you know, if you got lights on a vehicle, doesn't matter if you installed them or who installed them, okay? They all have to work. And first of all, well, and at the time I bought it, was almost the end of the inspection cycle where you people were supposed to have the vehicles inspected anyway, because they had 9 stickers on them. But anyways, that was one thing. The other thing was I wouldn't have cared, except just give full disclosure.
Well, I mean,
You had a tire that the steel tread was showing on the thing. That was after I purchased it that I found out.
and I don't mean to sound argumentative or nasty, but that's exactly why we advertise them as is. And at that point, in fairness, you had the opportunity to look at the vehicle. You could see that the tires were going to need to be replaced, etc. I mean, and that's quite frankly why they sold for what they did. We get to a point at the very end of those vehicles' lives where it makes absolutely 0 sense for us to put any money in them because they have run their course. They've done what it was we bought them to do, and that's why those cars were parked probably 2 or 3 months before the new ones got here, because it wasn't worth us putting any more money in them at that point to turn around and sell them for $300 or $400.
Well, the first time they had them up for auction, they were still in use. Because I went down, I didn't see any parked around, you know, the buildings up here. So I go over towards the police station, and the police car was there. I said to somebody, I said, where they got these vehicles that, you know, available for us to look at? And he says, what? I said, you've got 2 cars that are up for auction, along with a pickup truck, you know, and at that time, I don't know if, but, and he said, this is one of them right here. And he was driving it. Now, if he was driving that car, which I bought, all right, not 2 months before that.
What are you talking about? Because the vehicles that we've sold in the time that I've been here haven't been in use. They've been stored down back before they were sold.
The 2 Impalas, 13 and 14 Impalas.
Those have been here since midsummer, so they've been in the highway garage.
Yeah.
They've been removing the decals on them.
Yeah, they've been over here off the road. The new ones are in, and
I know, that's been, I bought it at the end of September.
Okay.
However, the first time they were bid on, I didn't get a bid in.
Those are different vehicles.
Those are different vehicles. Those are the 2 before that.
We sold
We sold 4 cars this year. We sold the 2 that should have been actually sold last year, earlier in this year, and then we sold the 2 that we just replaced. I think you've got the cars mixed up.
I was told that the first bids that they'd accept them because they're too
No.
low.
We sold 4 cars this year.
Okay.
We had 2 that should have been sold last year that didn't get sold. So we sold those, and then we sold the 2 that we replaced this year.
Yeah.
Okay?
But anyway, I was told that was one of them.
Yeah. It
I was
wasn't.
driving it, and I thought, in a month's time,
No.
you got 4 tires that would
No.
meet the inspection criteria.
No, no. All of the cars are maintained very, very well, so.
Well, no, because that's all it was. Like I say, just full disclosure, I realize there's no warranty on anything.
Yep.
And I'm buying it as is, but give me full disclosure is what it is. You know, that's all.
Okay.
And Brad did take me through, and the one, like he says, yeah, this one we had a fuel smell. He said, we found a very small leak. He says, we think that's taken care of, but we haven't had any problems since. And, you know, batteries are dead in both cars. And he says, but the doors are unlocked, so you can get in the car. So we got in the car, but the electric button to open the trunk because the batteries were dead. So I couldn't get in the truck, so, you know.
But you still bought a vehicle.
Huh?
But you still bought the vehicle.
I still bought the vehicle, yeah.
Anything else? If not, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.